Nicole Basumber.
And I'm Jason Belton.
We're here today to go over some tips and tricks for conducting a successful interview.
We're going to show you a little bit of what to do
And what not to do.
Absolutely. In his first interview, we're going to show you how a proper interview should be conducted. You will see that Jason's applying for a cook. In this interview, you're going to see things such as active listening, digging deep for information, explaining job values, and explaining exactly what it means to work for HCF.
Hi, you must be Jason.
I am.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, let's get started.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Jason.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Have a seat. I have your resume right here. So what brings you into Fox Run today?
I'm looking for a job. Just need some work.
Any kind of work?
Well, I kind of want to be hands-on, so something I can do with people.
Okay.
I like to help.
You like to help people. That's good. So tell me about a time where you felt really passionate about something you were doing.
Wow, that's a great question. I really like to cook, so I got involved in some jobs where I did a lot of cooking. And it felt more like something I enjoyed doing rather than work itself.
So how many unscheduled absences in a year's time do you think is good attendance?
I don't like to miss work, so I really don't anticipate any. But I do have children, so I would say maybe 3 call-offs would still be good attendance over a course of a year.
Okay, I like that answer. So Jason, tell me about a time when you had a difference of opinion with a coworker or supervisor.
Well, I told you that I like to cook, so it's a little embarrassing, but one of the jobs that I had, another cook and I got into it about how much seasoning should be put in the bouillon, and it got a little heated. So tempers flared. We talked it out, and in the end, everything got straightened out, but it was a little dicey there. We both felt pretty passionate about the way we felt.
Okay. So how much seasoning does go in the bouillon?
That's a trade secret.
I like it. So tell me about a time that was specific that you had to handle a tough problem that challenged fairness and ethical issues.
Gosh. Well, one of the things I can think of off the top of my head was somebody I was working with was stealing steaks out of the freezer and sneaking them home with them. So I couldn't just let it go. So I went to my supervisor, and as bad as I felt about it, I had to tell him what was going on.
Good, because sometimes it's not what you know, it's what you do when you find out. So that's always a good thing.
I try to do my best.
So Jason, give me an example of a time when you took initiative to do something that wasn't part of your regular activities that you do at work.
I guess, again, I go back to the time I was at one of the restaurants. We were slammed. We had enough cooks in the kitchen, but the bussers, they couldn't keep up with the tables. There were lines out there, so I just grabbed a tub and went out and started bussing tables to get them back caught up. So then I jumped back in the kitchen so we could keep everything going.
Very good. I like to see people that take initiative. So, tell me what your strengths are in cooking.
I'm really good at certain things, but one of my best things is being able to anticipate and measure out how to cook for large groups. I'm really good at kind of getting a number of what I have and knowing how much ingredients that I need to be able to put out the type of meal that I want.
Okay. So then what are your challenges as a cook?
Well, I've worked some different places where we haven't always had the best or the right ingredients. Financially, they haven't been able to afford to do some of the things that I feel passionate or would like to do. So sometimes it's the financial things become a challenge to be able to put out a presentable meal that I feel proud of.
Nice. What's your favorite thing about being a cook?
I just love to create things. I love to take ingredients and put them together and make something that nobody else has had before.
Nice. I like that. So I think you're going to be an excellent candidate for this position. Did you have any questions for me?
Well, what does this job pay?
Why would you ask me that? No, no, actually, it's based on experience. It's on a sliding scale. So the next steps would be we'd run you through the building, let you take a look at the kitchen and see how you like it, and then they would set you up an offer. And then you could tell us yes or no, maybe negotiate a little bit. But that's typically how it works.
Very good.
All right. So let's go for a tour. I'll take you to see the kitchen and see what you'll be working with.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. In this interview, we're going to show you exactly what not to do. You're going to see plenty of examples and plenty of things you should and shouldn't ask, such things as how old are you, what your relationship status is, kid and children situation, along with daycare and who's going to watch those children while working, and how to handle a proper interruption. We're going to show you what not to do and how the proper way to handle these situations are. Yo, are you Nicole?
Yes.
Hey, what?
Oh. Fist bump? What are we doing?
All right. Hey, oh man, I forgot my stuff. Just have a. I'll be right back. Right back. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Things were crazy back there. I'm running behind. Thank you so much for waiting. I hope it hasn't. It's just been you wouldn't believe this day. It has been absolutely crazy. People are nuts around here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So helpful tip number 1, always be on time and always be prepared. If you can, wait for the candidate up front. Coming in discombobulated and disheveled, never a good look. So Nicole, you're here to be a nurse.
I am.
Well, first off, how old are you? First, you can never ask a candidate how old you are, even if you're trying to determine whether they can do certain functions within the job or not. Definite no-no. There's other ways to get the answers to the questions that you would like.
How old do you think I am?
Moving on. So, with this job, there's certain functions that we have that require you to be 18 years of age, or you may not be allowed to do those certain functions. I don't know if things are challenging, but hopefully this isn't going to be a challenge for you. If anything that I say throughout the interview is going to be a challenge or present an obstacle, please let me know.
Okay.
So what do you hope to accomplish?
Like in life or?
Just in general.
Jason, we have nobody to work tonight. I don't know what to do. I've tried calling everybody. I'm lost.
I got to go take care of this. Do you mind waiting for 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
So the best way to handle this is not interrupting your interview. Finish your interview, and I'll show you now how to properly handle an interruption like this. So what do you hope to accomplish?
Like in life or?
Jason, I need your help. I don't have anybody to work tonight. I've called everybody. I just don't know what to do.
Oh, Angie, I know that's a problem. Let me finish with Nicole. We're in an interview for a nursing position, and I'll be right out to help you as soon as we're done.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So through the course of working and everything, I mean, you've told me a lot about stuff you've done in the past and everything else, but I don't hear like much about, Nicole's personal life. Do you have kids?
Yeah. I got 18.
Again, another question that you cannot ask. Wondering about childcare, wondering about children, wondering about obstacles they may have outside of the workplace that could affect them inside the workplace. There are plenty of different ways to ask that. So, Nicole, is there anything that would prevent you from being on time or having good attendance or anything like that? Any obstacles that you see that we may be able to help you with as you may prepare to take this job?
No, the only unplanned thing that I have is a vacation scheduled in June that's already paid for. But other than that, I should be here every day.
I definitely think we can work with that.
Excellent.
So what kind of obstacles do you have?
Well, from time to time, I have to pick up little Tim from daycare because he gets kicked out.
Well, don't you have a husband or a man in your life or something? What do you normally do about childcare?
Well, sometimes my mama pick him up, but other times, I just got to do it.
Again, not a question that you can ask. This is a no-no. This is an absolute stay away from. What they're outside relationship statuses, and what they do for childcare is not something that we can ask or not a path that we can go down, as much as you may think that it would be relevant to what you need to know. There is no good way to ask this question. So Nicole, tell me, are you working anywhere right now?
No.
So you're just kind of sitting around, and how are you making any money?
I don't have to make money. I have an OnlyFans.
Another question that you need to be very delicate and very pointed when you ask. You can't just ask them personal questions about their life. If you're concerned or have questions about their work history, keep it strictly to their work history and ask about last known jobs, not how they're making their money now. Sometimes you may get answers that you really don't want to know. So Nicole, I know you're not working now and things have got to be tough, so I would like to put you in this job. Tell me a little bit about your last job and how you've gotten by up to now.
Well, I have worked PRN for several different agencies. I've been a travel nurse, so I've just been out there like taking jobs, getting things done as best I can until I found a permanent home.
And what happened with that last job? Did they just can you?
Well, do you want the truth?
When asking these questions, you need to have empathy, professionalism, and let them know that you're there to care. You're there to help, and you're there to do anything you can to put them in the best possible situation. So I guess, it's looking like you want to be a nurse. You haven't said anything to me that tells me that you can't do this job. So what questions do you have that I might be able to answer?
Well, like what's the schedule gonna be?
Well, I'm really not, I'm not familiar with that, so we're going to have to go check with somebody else so we can get an idea of, I don't even know if this is day shift or night shift.
Oh my God. So then let me tell you, I can only work Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 a to 7 p.m. That is it.
Well, I think we might be able to work with that.
Oh, okay. Good.
First, always know when you're going into it what job, what position, and what shift the job is for. You don't want to be caught off guard when you look like you don't know what you're talking about. So make sure you have all the information. Be prepared for when your candidate asks questions like this. What other questions do you have?
How much does this position pay?
How much do you want to make? I mean, we got room to wiggle.
Oh, good. Because I need at least $50 an hour.
So always know what the position pays. Be prepared to ask questions. Be prepared when you go into that interview. If you've already looked at the resume, have an idea of what kind of experience they have. Go ahead and put it in through your calculator and see what they might be making for that position. But never commit to anything until you know an absolute answer. So, any last questions before we wrap this up?
Well, what kind of dress code do y'all have here?
Well, I like what you're wearing right now. Is that what you plan on wearing?
Well, I could.
Again, professionalism. When they ask questions, be very professional, be very on point, stick to exactly what the job would entitle and incur. Do not go off the cuff, and do not try and flirt with anybody that might be a candidate. So I think I've asked or answered or whatever, anything you've thrown at me. You want to go take a look at this joint? We can walk around a little bit.
Sure.
All right, I got to warn you though, some of the people here today are a little crabby.
Oh.
Now we're going to show you what a typical interview would look like, and as you can see at this point, the interviewee is going to be applying for a nurse position. So sit back, kind of enjoy, and take some notes, see what it looks like in one of our typical interviews.
Hi, you must be Jason.
I am.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here.
Well, let's get started.
Absolutely.
So, Jason, you're here because you applied to be a nurse. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just graduated nursing school. I'm ready to get out and get going.
Excellent. So you're an LPN, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So with this being your first job as an LPN, what were you doing before?
Well, actually, I've been in the medical field before. I started out as a phlebotomist.
Okay.
Liked stabbing people. I mean, what can I say? I like to draw blood. I like to have that interaction with them, but I wanted more. I wanted to feel like I was able to help more. So it kind of just slowly led me down this path.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you thought of us to further your career. But thinking of that, what kind of makes you drive towards long-term care?
Well, I kind of, again, had some background. I was a phlebotomist. I worked in a hospital setting. I worked in a doctor's office type setting. I've even worked in a lab type setting. But I just have an affinity. I like to work with the elderly. I was very close to my grandparents. I had a grandmother that was in a nursing home for several years, and I just want to be able to give back to everything that they did for her.
Nice. Well, I like that attitude. So tell me about a time or a situation where you felt very passionate about something.
I think just working in the medical field in general, it's such a passion for me. One of my favorite things in nursing school was going through pharmacology and learning all the different medications and what kind of effects they would have on things. So that I would just say helping people is my biggest passion, and my way to do that is working in the medical field.
Nice. So you said, you love helping people. Tell me about a time when maybe people weren't so great. Tell me about a time that maybe someone challenged you at work. How did you handle that?
Well, medications are always, like I said, I have a passion for that. It's one of my interests, and it's always a touchy thing when giving a patient medication. You have to know dosages, you have to know those things. And through my nursing school, there was a situation where we had to give a dose of a medication to a patient, and there was a little bit of disagreement between one of my other fellow students, colleagues, however you want to say it, and I on exactly what that medication should be. So we both sat down, we looked it up, went through our calculations, and kind of came to an agreement. I wouldn't say it was heated, but it was definitely where we didn't agree on it, and finally we came to the resolution of what the proper medication dosage should be.
Good, so collaboration.
Yeah.
So tell me about a time when you took the initiative to do something that was outside of your scope of what you normally do from day to day.
So, COVID's affected so many things right now. So one of the things I did when I was working as a phlebotomist is I volunteered to go to the COVID testing tent and help test people that came through a drive-up. It was a drive-up COVID testing center at the hospital I was working for, and I went out and volunteered to help take swabs so we could test as many people as possible.
Nice. All right. So that, I'm sure, was challenging.
Oh, very, very challenging. Yeah, the gear we had to wear, the get-up was something else.
Yeah. So then tell me about a time where you were stressed and how you handled that stressful situation.
Oh, gosh.
How do you work under pressure?
That's why that question's kind of tough for me, because I don't get super stressed out. I come from a family of people that have worked in the medical field, and I guess I just kind of have always had that sense of calm in chaotic situations. So I'm gonna have to think on that one. To a time, I guess you could look at, through schooling and that. Can we come back to that one?
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think we're alike in that way. It's hard to get me to stress out about something. So yeah, we'll definitely come back. If you think of it, just let me know. What about attendance? What do you consider good attendance over the course of a year?
Honestly, there are no days off in the medical field. I mean, I again came from a family that my father was a paramedic firefighter. He got up and worked because there were people that were going to need him. So I kind of feel the same way, and no matter what it is, that people rely on me. So attendance, I'm not going to say I never get sick. I would say that if I get sick, I try to use common sense, because I don't want to bring an illness into a facility and have somebody get sick because of me, but yet I know that those people need care and they need taken care of, and it's my responsibility to be there when I'm scheduled to be there to take care of those patients.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely appreciate that about you, because it is hard. And having that common sense, I know some people like myself will come to work knowing I'm sick, but again, I don't take care of patients hands-on. So that work ethic is something that is just so important to our residents. Give me a specific time when you had to handle a really tough problem. something that maybe you had to have a little help with? Maybe you had to work as a team with others to resolve that?
Well, I think I could probably answer that question and go back and answer your question about stressful situations and how I handle myself under stress. I could probably answer those together. Going as a phlebotomist, I was working in a lab, going to different situations where actually I traveled, I went out, I drove from spot to draw blood, sometimes in nursing homes, sometimes in doctors' offices, factories, whatever they needed. It just so happened that I was at a location and one of the people that was in line to get their blood drawn went into cardiac arrest. And at that point, I've been trained, I knew what to do. I didn't have any other medical professionals there, so I took control of the situation, kind of stepped up, but I did need others to assist. You know, I had to send somebody to go get a phone to call 911. I had to have somebody checking for respirations while I did chest compressions. It was a team effort, but again, keeping my cool in a situation where there were several people around and somebody was literally dying in front of them. It's just kind of my natural instinct is to take charge and be a leader in those situations.
Nice. Not everyone has that wherewithal to do that. So
it did have a happy ending too. So he made it.
He made it? Great. So do you have any specific questions about the position?
Well, you know, what kind of hours would I be working? I do have family at home, so I kind of would like to go back when I discuss this with my wife, you know, have an idea of what kind of schedule I'd be working, and we can make an informed decision based on that. So, you know, I mean, is this 12-hour shifts? Is it, how many days a week would I be here, or what?
So actually at this facility we are running 12s. So we're going to do 4 12-hour shifts. You'll be on a template type schedule, so you know exactly what your schedule is going to be in a 2-week rotation. It's every other weekend, so that's good for work-life
No, that
balance.
sounds great. Yeah, no. So vacation time, how does that work? I mean, all right, so let me try to explain the situation. My family, we travel with my daughter who plays club volleyball. In about 4 or 5 months, we've got a tournament that I'm gonna have to take a couple days off and travel for. How does the vacation work here?
Oh, absolutely. So we are definitely family friendly. This is a family owned company. We have all kinds of benefits. Specifically to your question, vacation, you start accruing at day 1, and you can take it after your 90-day mark, so you should be good if it's a couple of months away. But we would definitely want to do everything we can to make sure that you're able to have that work-life balance. We don't want you to miss out on a single volleyball game if we can help it. So definitely that. So we have the full gambit of benefits: medical, dental, vision, term life, the whole thing. We have tuition reimbursement, so if you're going to get that RN, we definitely want you to do that in hopes that you'll become an RN with us. We have where you can have access to your pay, next day pay, a shift wallet. So we have all kinds of benefits. What else you got for me?
You know, it all sounds great.
It is great.
I guess I'd love to take a look around the place. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
This is really exciting. This is really nice here.
It is. I love our buildings. Wait till you see our cottages that we have. So you've seen the good, the bad, and the ideal. The questions that were used during this training come from your value-based interview guide. If you don't have this, we can show you where to find it.
And now some quick tips and tricks.
Be prepared and organized and ready for your interview. This is your candidate's first impression of you and your building.
Be on time and seek out a private area to avoid distractions.
Be aware candidates might be very nervous.
Be friendly, respectful, and don't talk too much. Show that you're actively listening.
Don't be afraid to ask candidates to be more specific about questions.
Don't write on the candidate's resume or application. Keep notes on these interview pages.
And lastly, have an open mind. You never know who could be the perfect fit for any jobs in your building.